Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket for Wednesday the 13th of January. Today on the show news, the Division explainer trailer, not really explaining what the Division is, and we talk about whether or not multiplayer only games are worth your money. Stay with us. But before we get to your money, here's what's been making news. Rockstar North president Leslie Benzies is leaving the studio after 17 years. Benzies was a producer on every Grand Theft Auto game since the series-defining GTA 3. He also worked on Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire, and Max Payne 3. Next up, EA is bringing their game subscription service to Windows PCs. Origin Access, as it will be known on the platform, is the equivalent of the Xbox One's EA Access program. For a small monthly fee, players get access to EA's extensive catalog of games and a bunch of benefits such as early access to big releases from the publisher. The service is currently available in some parts of Europe and is expected to expand to other regions shortly. Moving on, and To the Moon developer Ken Gao has finally revealed a sequel, Finding Paradise. Finding Paradise will adopt the same concept as To the Moon, where you will be following two doctors as they traverse a dying patient's memories to artificially fulfill their last wish. Which sounds lovely, but is medically irresponsible. And finally, according to the official PlayStation blog, Crypt of the Necrodancer will be shimmying its way to the PS4 and Vita on the 2nd of February. Launching that same day on PS4 will be Roll 7's Not a Hero. Not a Hero was prepping for a Vita launch as well, but due to time and financial restraints, abandoned the platform in favor of making the PS4 version actually work for launch. Good call, Mr. 7. I'm now joined by Good Game director and series producer, Ben Shackelford.
Hello.
Benjamin.
Why are we so formal?
Don't fire me.
Okay.
So we are going to look at the new Division trailer, which dropped sort of unofficially today. Take a look at it, analyze it, see what we think.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it yet, then go here and check it out. So pause the video, click this, watch the trailer, and then come back. You better come back. All right, let's have a look.
When you first joined the Division, what were you expecting? I'm sure they told you about the sacrifices you'd make. Things you might have to do one day. But none of us could have ever predicted this.
Okay, cool. Ben, first impressions.
Well, I was lucky enough to actually be at Ubisoft during the E3 where that was launched
Oh.
a few years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. And I remember
Showing off.
I remember sitting in the crowd thinking, wow, that looks awesome.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think at that time, it felt like something was really new and fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
Today, I feel like it may not be so new and fresh and exciting. I feel like that experience
Yeah.
we can already get today in a multitude of other games. It might not be as polished
Yeah.
or as immersive or anything, but I just kind of feel like, yeah, okay, I feel like I've done a lot of this before.
So a lot of it, you know, it seems to be drawing on some pretty heavy sort of MMO mechanics here.
Yeah.
I'm still confused as to whether or not it is this sort of like player versus player stuff, because I was always under the impression that you would sort of join up with people and then you'd wander around the city and then you'd find other groups of real players and then you'd fight against them and that sort of thing. Whereas this was very much implying you are all working together to rebuild the city, probably working against AI. I know that dark zone area is the PvP stuff according to Wikipedia. So maybe that's where it happened, but the trailer didn't give a very good explanation of that.
Yeah.
With a lot of the MMO stuff, I also want to know if you are rolling classes. We saw some people doing healing abilities
Yeah.
and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like, are you becoming a healer and you make medicines and bandages and that sort of stuff that then other players come and buy from you? Or are you just have a loadout that you walk out with and you know, you don't really develop that sort of stuff?
I don't know if it's going to be that deep. I feel like you're always going to go back to that base that's being built up with medical staff and police, and you know, it might be some kind of refuge for people looking for that kind of thing. And I feel like you'll be given missions from that point, and then you just basically explore boroughs of New York.
Yeah.
You know, so you go to Manhattan, you go to Brooklyn.
I'm worried about that as well. I want it to be an open world, but I'm really worried, just given the resources you would need to keep the game looking the way that it does, like just in a streaming world. Like, I feel like it's not going to be wandering through streets and finding missions. It's like, get a mission, go to a loading screen, go to a landing place, and then head out from there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exactly that.
I think what you said earlier was interesting about you've sort of had this experience before. It feels like DayZ, Rust, these games are actually taking the here's like a post-apocalypse, go out and make your own way, and this could be too much of a clamped down sort of
I feel
isolated
that.
experience.
Yeah.
I think like Destiny had that
exactly,
sort of just
that's
hub
right.
zones that you go to, missions that are kind of bland. I mean, there's a lot of judgment here based off a trailer.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to what's happened in this environment.
Yeah,
I want to know.
I have no idea.
So that's piqued my interest, and I still want to find out what's happening.
Yeah, I think Trump got elected. That's what happened. All right, moving on. It's now time for my favorite part of the show, and it will soon be yours as well.
Awesome.
Thing of the day. Thing of the day. YouTubers Black Sheep Pictures have remade Rainbow Six Siege using Lego, and it's adorable until it's not. Thing of the day. It's the Lego movie we all wanted. All right, we're now moving on to the talk through where you suggest a topic. We talk through it. Today's topic comes from Kleismic, who says, can we talk about how sunburnt Goose is and how white his arms are? Well, it was pretty sunburnt.
Yeah, well, he likes to surf.
He does like to surf. And he's got some pretty white arms. So we've got a bit of time left. So let's move on to another topic. This one comes in from Edward Teddy Parker, who says it would be interesting to hear from GG whether you see multiplayer-only games as a viable gaming category in the future, and exactly how much content in these games, like modes and gear and maps and that sort of thing, justifies a full release. Benjamin, do you even like video games, or are you just a television hack?
I will let the Good Game community let me know that. Yes, of course. I am mainly a single-player.
Yep.
Gamer, so things like Uncharted and
Tomb Raider,
stuff like that, absolutely. So that is my go-to.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of just online-only experiences because for me personally, I feel like I don't get the value out of it. But I can see from the general conversations I have and the little bit of gaming that I have done in terms of online, as long as it feels like and I know this is a weird analogy, but if I pay $20 to go to the cinema for a 2-hour experience, then I kind of equate that to the gaming element as well. And I know that
So you only want to pay $20 for games?
Well, no, I want to, if I'm playing something like a Call of Duty campaign, and I've paid $120 for the game, and it plays out for 6 hours, and I'm like, I don't know if that was really worth it.
Right, okay.
But I can see that, from an online experience.
Because you are just sinking hundreds of hours.
Exactly, that's right. Then that is obviously good value for money.
Yeah.
I think as long as what a lot of these games should do is, I feel like they've got to be one or the other.
Right.
Just make your decision and go all the way with it.
Yeah, I think that, so I was like you, I was traditionally always a single player guy. I rarely dipped into the multiplayer. And I think that we're going through this transitional phase at the moment where multiplayer had traditionally been something that's attached to single player games. There were some multiplayer only games, obviously, but most of the time multiplayer was something additional to the thing that you were actually buying. So for me, the price was attached to the single player, multiplayer was a bonus. Take away the single player stuff, only leave the multiplayer, it actually feels like you've removed something. Even if the multiplayer is incredibly deep and complex and whatever, it still feels like that was the side thing that's now the feature. Whereas now I do play more multiplayer games. I play Dota, I play Hearthstone, and these games have no single player sort of campaign to it. For me, the value for money comes from a skill ceiling, I guess. Like, I want to feel as though you're getting better at a game. And if I feel as though I'm getting better at a game, like at the game itself, then I feel like the value of money is there because I'm finding something new. But there's a difference to me, like something like Dota, which, obviously is the one that I play. I still barely know anything about it. There's so much depth to it. So it's one map, and I only ever play one mode, but I completely feel like that is a game I would happily pay $100 for. But luckily it's free, because I'm getting better at the game. But for, like a game like Evolve or Titanfall, these games that have come out where they've had multiplayer only and then the community kind of fell away, I think it's because you only can be so good at Twitch-based shooting. Like, there's not necessarily too many more mechanics that you can learn. So the skill ceiling kind of taps out at that point.
And as long as the developers seem to appear like they're putting continued investment into it as well.
Yeah.
If they're, all right, well, look, we've got this new map, we've got this new mode, we've got this new element to it, then it's, okay, well, you guys are taking what I've paid for, the $100 or whatever it is, and you're reinvesting it back into the game, I think, and dropping it every so often as well. That if there's that hook, if there's always something to come back to, then I can see the value for money there as well.
I guess ultimately we're just saying that like it's value is super subjective.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Battlefront is a good example. If you want that Star Wars experience, it is all there for you.
Exactly, yeah. Like if you love Star Wars, then that is the game you need to get. But for someone who doesn't love Star Wars and loves deep shooting, it's probably not the best value for you. And I think ultimately there's an element of stars aligning with these games. Like it needs to be the right game, made by the right people, with the right support, the right amount of maps, the right community at the right time, all need to sort of line up to make a game really sing in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, all right, well that's it for today's episode. My Pocketeers! What should we discuss tomorrow for the talk through? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, let us know what you think about multiplayer-only games. Are they the future? Is that something that you continue to invest your time and money in? And while you're on the internet, make sure you keep on top of everything Good Game by checking us out on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at GoodGameTV, follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierreth, and at GGEditMonkey. He's Shackas, and there are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Alex with a Y, and if you have sent in a Thing of the Day graphic, we have a big bank of them lined up, so if you haven't seen yours yet, don't worry, you will. And if you have not made one yet, what is wrong with you? You should send it in and we will play it because we would love to see it. And also a big thank you to everyone who joined me yesterday for my live stream of Contradiction. That game went to some weird slave tradery places. I'm gonna be continuing that tomorrow on our Twitch channel at 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Twitch TV /Good Game ABC TV. So come along and join the fun. Ben won't be there.
No.
But he will watch it later because he's a dirty company man. All right, that's it for today's episode. NichBoy out. Ben out.
Okay, good. I don't know. I'm behind the camera. Direct stuff.
You know, Lin G did fine.